The problem for me is that we are too invested in silencing women and not invested enough in actually hearing what the fuck they have to say. Ayesha Curry ain't say nothing wrong. Ayesha Curry ain't say nothing wrong. She did not say anything wrong. Go again, because it's definitely not the first go around with her going viral and people speaking on her opinions about her marriage. So I said, let me just go listen to the clip. This clip that got everybody in a tizzy. So I go and listen to the clip, and this is what everybody's upset about.
I didn't want kids. I didn't want to get married. I thought I was going to be career girl, and that's it. And I had my eyes set on my goals. And I was never the little girl that like dreamt about the wedding dress and all of that. And then it happened so early in my life. Did you talk to Steph about it? He tries to resonate with me, but he just can't. And he also comes from a place of like, it's effing stupid. Like, it's not true, so why? And I'm like, but wait, like, listen to how it makes me feel. And he's like, but why does it make you feel like that? It's not real. After we got married, we found out we were pregnant with our daughter so quickly. I didn't even have time to think about what I wanted anymore. It's so interesting. I spent my entire life like trying to work towards something, and then it kind of just disappeared, and I didn't think twice about it. But after my daughter turned 1, I remember there being a shift and being like, I have goals for myself. Like, this doesn't feel right. I love being a mom, but I love doing other things too. And I need to get my shit together and figure out what that looks like for myself now.
If I have a career and I'm not home, like, did you experience that?
I still experience that. I still experience that. I'm always in therapy talking about this. If you lose all of those things that were interesting about you, even for yourself, like even the things that made me feel confident and cool, then what are you doing?
The reaction to Ayesha Curry's comments say so much more about us than it does about her. Number one, society is absolutely hell-bent on misunderstanding outspoken women. Jada Pinkett, we can go down the line. Like, women who are married and have children are expected to be demure and quiet. And if you break that silent agreement or not so silent agreement, there are repercussions, and this is one of them. Y'all just really like quiet women too much for me. I think that you, on a certain level, everybody who has internalized misogyny, and that goes for any gender, because you can be a woman and be hella misogynistic too. I feel like people who have an issue with the things that she said want women to be seen and not heard. Mind you, sister got married at 22. Your frontal lobe is not even developed at 22. Maybe when you get to 25, if you're lucky. Okay, so she got married at 22, had her first daughter at 23 to an NBA player who was already well known at the time, but she said herself in the Call Me Daddy interview that she did not know that Steph Curry was going to be this famous. She said that she thought she was actually going to be the career woman. And, you know, because she said at the time, Steph was saying he was going to coach high school basketball. So I don't understand the pushback on her saying, I expected to have a career. That is exactly what she thought. It was unexpected for Steph to get as big as he did. She just honestly said, I didn't imagine this life for myself. Even though I love it now, I didn't imagine it for myself. And the issue is, I don't know her entire background, but I know that there have been statements that she's made over the years that give us the idea that she really subscribed to respectability politics earlier on in her life. And these respectability politics, a lot of it is just to keep women in their place. Make sure that you stay in the line, make sure that you cross your T's, dotting your I's, and make sure that you don't get too uppity. There's no world in which respectability politics helps you get more free. Respectability politics is literally about controlling you and controlling women in particular. So if you are in your early 20s and you are subscribing to these ideas about I'm a good one if I get chosen. If a man chooses me, that makes me worthy. And then if I get next to a man, I have to make sure that I cherish it, because this is the most important thing that I'll ever do. That is going to harm you later in life. That is not a freeing idea. That is not a liberating idea. That is an idea that shackles you to a man and makes you want to put up with whatever and sacrifice whatever to keep that proximity to that man, because that man represents your worthiness. The problem for me is that we are too invested in silencing women and not invested enough in actually hearing what the fuck they have to say. Because people will be in outrage about Ayesha, about her comments, without even actually listening to what she really said. Instead, we have blogs, we have, the messy outlets are going to capitalize off of your misogyny that they bet that you have internalized, and they're going to spit out these headlines that purposely misconstrue the things that she said, and we're going to eat it up every time. Look, it's going to get ate up every time. Oh, well, she shouldn't be even married, da da da. And girl, they did the same thing to me when I was on Love and Hip Hop. And they did the same thing. She's getting the same treatment that Jada Pinkett got. This same treatment when she went on Red Table Talks back then and talked about how she felt like she was being honest about having envy, or feeling like, dang, I wish I could experience being wanted in the same way that Steph Curry is wanted by so many women. And people took that and just ran with it. And she was on Red Table Talk, so already there's 2 strikes. Okay? This is also another reason why whenever I produce an event, whether it's an event or a retreat, the main tenet that I train up all my staff on and that I encourage the ladies to move on is non-judgmentalness. Like, it is so rare for women to have a space where they know that they can say how they truly feel. They can talk honestly about their feelings, and they know that they're not going to be judged. Which leads me to my next point is we got to be mindful about the spaces that we're vulnerable in. I actually think Ayesha Curry said absolutely nothing wrong. I think that she actually is doing important work, and that more women are going to keep on doing this, and more women should do this. And when I say do this, I mean be honest about their actual lived experiences. The problem of why so many women get caught up in this whole fairy tale idea of marriage and this whole Prince Charming sweeping you off your feet is because we are fed lies. We are not given real truth about women's lived experiences. Now, I can't say that. I'm very lucky. I work 100% with women. I'm surrounded by women. Again, I provide vulnerable spaces for women. So I know that what Ayesha Curry said is basically, it's not even the tip of the iceberg of things that I hear from women. I hear women all the time talk about the difficulties of being a mother and being a wife. And mind you, one of the most difficult aspects, and I think it does touch a little bit on what Ayesha was talking about, but it's really being a mother and a wife under patriarchy and late stage capitalism, okay? Those things make having community very difficult, finances very difficult. Capitalism and patriarchy have always rested on unpaid domestic labor from women and black folks. But that's another video. You know how they say America runs on Duncan? No, America runs on women's labor. Unpaid labor, okay, at that. So Ayesha going on a podcast, she is this woman who apparently has it all. She has the doting, faithful husband, the beautiful children, an amazing career for herself. Her husband has he's an amazing athlete. Everybody's looking at it and going, so what are you complaining about? And that's the trick. Aha, there's the rub. Because we're not supposed to complain about these things. These things are supposed to be exactly what you wanted, exactly what you signed up for. It's no coincidence that we're indoctrinated from when we're young with Disney movies who are like, oh my God, I'm passed out in a coma forever. I just need a man to come kiss me and wake me up. Oh my God, I'm a mermaid, live my best life with my mermaid sisters and my mermaid daddy and stuff. But like, oh my God, let a man look my way, baby. I'm gonna give up my fins. I'm gonna give up my whole voice. I'll just communicate with you through a fork. Oh my God, I'm actually Native American, and here come this colonizer who could be my daddy, but like, I love him so much, I'll just give up anything. Let's dance with the colors of the wind. Like, it's not a mistake that these are the messages that are fed to us, okay? When you're a little girl, you get a doll, you get a little play kitchen, and you start to learn your place. What we're taught from a young age is this myth that is Being a wife and being a mother is the greatest joy that a woman can have. And the reason that we have to be fed it as a myth that it brings you joy is because this society cannot run without your unpaid domestic labor. Okay? That's why I do not take advice from men. Clock it. Clock it. Okay, all these high-powered CEO men who have all these books and seminars to teach you how to be successful. Yeah, a part of your success is there is some woman in your life who's doing all the unpaid domestic labor that you do not have the time to do. Let me tell you this. If I wrote a book and I was like, this is how you make it big for women. These are how you be a high-powered CEO. And I was like, yeah, ladies, just get up at 5 a.m., start your breath work, do your meditation, do your yoga, do your cold bath, get your smoothie, blah, blah, blah. Women will be like, hold on. So who's getting the kids ready? Who's making breakfast for the kids? Who's packing lunch? Who's taking them to the bus stop, right? If I said, oh, if you want to build your own entrepreneurial business, keep your 9 to 5 and you work your 9 to 5 and then you have your own 5 to 9 and you build your business after hours, women would be like, so who's making dinner? So who's doing bath time? So who's doing bedtime? Who's reading stories? Like, behind all of these successful men are women that are doing unpaid work. And in order to keep getting new cohorts of women to sign up for all this unpaid domestic labor, we have to frame it as this thing that brings you an unnamed amount of joy. And that is the myth that keeps this whole train running. That's the fuel that America runs on. You love it. You should love it. You should love it. It is not to say you can't love it, okay? I love it. I love being married, okay? I love being a bonus mom. But I can speak to motherhood kind of because I'm a bonus mom, but not all the way. There's some things that I'll never understand right now from my perspective. But what I do understand is there's a lot of difficulties. It's not so easy. We shame women so that we can keep the system running. We shame women. Why? Because if women are quiet and they don't talk about it, we'll just keep it going. But if more women are speaking up and maybe more women are deciding, hold on, maybe I don't want to get married so young. Maybe I'll wait until my 30s. Your 30s, your 40s. Oh, you're going to be old. Where's my powder? Like, they gonna call you old. It's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know what? Let's play a game. Did I make the right choice? All right. Option A. I get married very young before I know who I am. And then I potentially might want to revisit that decision later. Option B. I get married later in life and I have maybe a more established sense of self. Either way, it don't matter. It don't matter. It don't matter which way you choose. You just have to do the best for you. Nobody can tell you what is the best for your life and your decisions. What might work for me might not work for you. Again, that's why I always argue for women knowing yourself on an intimate level so that you can make the decisions that are going to reflect the best for you. Okay? The issue is y'all like silent women too much for me. You like quiet women too much for me. The only reason why some women find themselves in situations and go, wow, why didn't anyone warn me? I had no idea what this was like. Nobody talks about how hard it is being a mother. Nobody talks about how selfless it is. No one talks about how exhausted I am. No one talks about touch fatigue. I'm tired of being touched. I'm exhausted. I can't think straight. I have mom brain. I'm overwhelmed. I feel like I'm not appreciated. Nobody talks about these things. The only reason that women feel like that is because you shame women when they share their truth. You shame women when they share their actual experiences. I, for one, I never understood the Jada Pinkett treatment. That's a whole other video, but I feel like we won't appreciate what Jada gave till years down the line because the media purposely misconstrued everything that Jada said and they knew we were getting fatigued with her, so they would keep churning out more articles, take one thing she said years ago and repurpose it and do it again. And it's like, it's really sad for me to see, as somebody who has, I feel like, a little bit of a high level of media literacy, to see the ways in which people go out of their way to misunderstand women. But the thing of it is, if we want to break cycles, if we want to have the next generation of girls move forward with marriage and motherhood in a healthier way, in a way that suits them personally, deeply, We have to be honest. We have to lift the shame, and we have to stop shaming women who share their honest opinions. And if you are watching Ayesha Curry's actual interview, not the clickbait stuff that the blogs know that is going to tap right into your internalized misogyny. They know exactly what they're doing when they pick their headlines. Not that, but if you listen to her thoughts and your thought, your mind goes, she shouldn't be talking about this. She shouldn't be talking about this. She shouldn't be talking about this. Maybe there's a way in which you need to reevaluate what type of internalized misogyny you have. And I have had to do this too. I feel like there was like a year ago where something happened. I said something in a comment, and someone checked me and was like, explain. Oh, I know what it was. Well, there's these ladies were making fun of a childbirth thing, and I just thought, I was like, this is funny, like da-da-da. And they were like, well, Sheila, why is it funny? Ask yourself, why is it funny? And I was like, I had to check myself, because I have a level of internalized misogyny too. I'm not perfect. I'm working on myself every day. So I do agree with people whose critique is there is a time and place to share certain things. I don't think Call Me Daddy was the podcast for her to be vulnerable on. I do think it's more appropriate. That's why I like safe spaces that I provide, because women can share whatever and know that I'm not going to videotape it. I'm not going to put it online. I'm not going to make their stories content. And at the same time, my question to you, because I actually don't know the answer to this, is what is the appropriate way? If Ayesha Curry shouldn't share these thoughts publicly, if she shouldn't be honest about the actual lived experience that she's having, what is the alternative? Should she feel those things and never share it? Or is your argument that she should be completely quiet and just tell a therapist? Because I see that comment a lot, like she need to just get a therapist. She needs to just tell a therapist. Okay, so then what about all of the times, women in the comments, let me know, you've had a thought where you said, why didn't anyone tell me? Why didn't anyone tell me about this? Why didn't I know this? I was completely surprised. Were you prepared for marriage, women watching this? Were you prepared for the realities of motherhood? Did people tell you exactly what it was going to be like? Some of us might say yes to those questions, shout out to that. But I know there's a lot of us out there who are going to be like, damn, you're right. Maybe I would have saved myself some pain and suffering if somebody would have been honest about their experience. If someone would have told me in advance. And I feel like she should not be shamed for doing that. What if her kids hear that one day that she said that? Be for real. Please be so goddamn for real. Please, man. When her kids are old enough, she can show them the clip when they find it. She can have age-appropriate conversations about them, and that can actually turn into a very healthy decision. Like, I feel like sometimes people like to launder their misogyny through other shit. Like, what about the kids? What about the kids? You don't care about the kids. You just want to shame her. For where would the appropriate space be for women to share the struggles of wife motherhood? Where is it? Because it feels like no matter where she share it, y'all gonna figure out a way to shame her, or you're gonna say it should only be shared in private, which then allows that myth that I talked about earlier to keep on going. Because the myth needs to run on lies. It needs to run on a fantasy. And so the more that women do share the realities, the more that we can move towards a more fair and equitable world overall, and more fair relationships for women. Because a lot of these marriages, quiet as it's kept, benefit the man much more than it benefits the woman. I'm not saying that's Ayesha Curry's case, but I'm not talking to her. Most of my community are everyday women who do not have 5 different brands and cookware and this and that. These are women who are everyday working regular women. And I think it's more important than ever that women share the realities of marriage, because we have the whole opposite side of this, which is this whole trad wife movement, where you have women that are full-blown career women. These women have jobs. Their job is content creation. Their job is being an influencer. They are getting checks, W-2s, 1099s. They're getting deposits. These women have their own funds. If something goes down in these women marriages, they got the money to dip. Okay? They got the access. Full-blown career women that are cosplaying as trad wives and telling you that you should not work and you should stay at home and just be in the kitchen and making sourdough bread while they build up their bread, okay? No shade to these women. Everybody get a check. That's great for you. But all I'm saying is we need to really lift the shame and start telling the truth. I think there's a little bit too much lies going around because all these women that be trad wife women, we're all watching it and going, oh, that's all I want to do. And I agree because I don't want to frolic. Okay, all I want to do is frolic. She was a fairy. Yep. That's all I am. I'm a fairy. I'm not supposed to be doing none of this. Quiet as kept. I'm supposed to be running with my titties hanging, bouncing off my chest, my hair out, baby, feet in the ground, watering plants, catching butterflies, talking to squirrels. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not supposed to be in front of this damn camera. But here I am. You got these trad wives and they will tell you to stay at home and give up all of your agency and just give all of your labor to keeping this family unit running. And I have heard horror story after horror story of women who put themselves in that situation. And then if something happens, if abuse showed up in the marriage, if they were ready to leave, they couldn't leave because they don't have their own income. And then these women who have given up their best years of their lives to these men to keep a household going, if anything goes left and it's time to separate, that man is not going to give you nothing. Okay? And then you have all these kids, you're saddled with debt, you have this big history in your career where you didn't have anything on your resume. Like, these are the realities that more women need to be talking about, because if more women did talk about it, we would be less susceptible to this propaganda messaging like trad wife movement. Moral of the story, I don't think she said anything wrong. I think that societally...
Facts.
Right, facts. You see it.
And we want to low key we get together and talk about that, me and you. I think that'd be a good thing for us to touch.
What are you talking? You know what I'm talking about?
I know a little bit about the Ayesha Curry stuff.
How you know?
But I know people wouldn't understand because it's like we're getting after. But I got ideas about that.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, she's not wrong though. It's like it's not just all about the life and the famous and the blah 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 blah. It's like she also has things that she wants to accomplish and like. She's been put on and took on a mother role and providing and all. That's great, but it's things that they want to do. Women that want to accomplish things. And it's